This is Joshua Red, and I have with me today Joshua Red Uttech. Hi, Joshua.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
I'd like to give a shout out before we start to Luscious Moss Studio, owned and operated by Chad Christ in Edgewood, Washington. He is set up primarily for drummers and guitarists. And to produce and record their music, but he also does other things. He's produced my videos and etc. And not videos, but recordings. And he has done other artists as well. So if you have any needs at all in a studio, do contact him. He can be found on Facebook under Chad Quist or Luscious Moss Studio. So with that being said, I guess we're ready for you. Joshua, how do you want me to address you? Joshua Red or just Joshua?
Joshua Red.
All right, Joshua.
Uttech, whatever.
All right. Well, I haven't been able to see you yet, so I really am not familiar personally with your music, but I have read what you've written. And I'd like you to tell us a little bit how you got started, like what age and what instruments you got started on.
Well, I started singing as long as I can remember. I've been singing, and I was in choirs in like church, and then I was in choir in middle school. I was in a band in middle school and a couple bands in high school, and we were did the talent shows, and we won a couple times. A couple of the bands I was in, and then I always wanted to play guitar, and then my band broke up when I was about 20, almost 21. And I just I was living with the bass player I was with in that band at the time. And he started to show me a few chords on the guitar. And then that band broke up and I was like, oh, now what am I going to do? So I was like, I guess I'll start writing my own music. And so he actually owed me money for like a power bill or something. Yeah. And so he sold me that guitar for like $60. Oh. He's like, "Oh, you give me $60 and forgive the bill, and we're good." And I was like, "Done." And that I still have that guitar actually. Yeah.
Wow.
So I started there and started writing my own songs, and that was like 23 years ago.
I didn't put you down, I think, in the introduction as singer-songwriter. I'm not sure whether I did or not, but being an independent singer-songwriter is a bit of a challenge these days, correct?
Can be, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it kind of depends, like, on what you really want to do. I definitely want to continue to see success, and I have seen some already, and that's really exciting. But that whole like, I gotta be a millionaire, I gotta be famous, I gotta, that whole thing. I don't know if that's really even real. Not that it's not realistic, but if that's your only goal, then I think you have the wrong priorities,
right,
of why you're doing what you're doing.
Absolutely. I think it's very difficult. Things are changing. Record companies don't do what they used to do. And I was talking to Jonathan Plum from the London Bridge Studio in Seattle, where a lot of the recording rock bands were recording their stuff at the time.
Yeah.
And it's all changed, and it is becoming more and more stream online, like YouTube, Spotify, all the streaming. Yeah. So I have a few people here that I'd like that have come online to greet you. One of them is Rodney Lantert. He is the fiddle player for the Charlie Daniels tributes called the Hot Rodsters. Hi, Rodney, who joined us. And then somebody who didn't identify themselves. So we can't see your name unless you print it. There's a way to do that when you come on, but a lot of people miss it. So just put your name on there.
But, want me to put my name in the chat?
No, you're fine. You got your name in there. It's the people that are writing to us. And
oh, I see.
Yeah. He said, this guy is badass. He could be the next villain on John Wick. Uh-oh. The nemesis of Bobby Yoga. If the music doesn't work out, all kidding aside, what drives you now? No, I have no idea who wrote that, but obviously
if my music doesn't work out, what drives me? Yeah, that's a really good question, because music is pretty much my main focus. I mean, I have a day job, which I'm actually there now.
Oh.
But I'm the supervisor, so I've got an office and everybody's doing their thing. I love coffee. That's what my day job is right now. I run a coffee
Coffee?
shop. Yeah, I run
Oh,
a
I love
coffee
you
shop.
too.
I started as a
Coffee.
barista, and it started because I got injured. I
Oh,
used to be in construction. I was a carpenter.
oh,
I got in a bad car accident years ago and some really bad nerve damage in my neck and
hmm,
wasn't able to continue construction.
yeah.
And then I went back to cooking because I did cook for years, and that was a challenge as well. We had some neck injection procedures done that didn't really fix the problem. So, anyways, I went into coffee because it's pretty low impact work, and I love coffee.
Yeah,
And you can make a decent living if you get into
we
a
love
busy
coffee
shop.
too.
Yeah, if you get in
That's
a busy
why.
shop, you save money too because you get free coffee.
All
It's
right.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I love coffee. I'll probably always see myself doing something with coffee, whether it's owning a stand someday or just working part time just for fun to
Right.
make a little extra money. And um, I'm into healing arts. I'm really into nutrition and health. I'm a certified nutrition coach. I took that
Oh,
class a
yeah.
couple years ago. I haven't taken on any clients only because once I got certified, only because my music has been so busy, which is what I really want to do anyway.
Right.
So yeah, I just give people advice from time to time about nutrition, and then I'm just got signed up to do Reiki healing. So I'm gonna learn how to do Reiki healing, and
What is
it,
that? I don't.
Reiki is like an energy healing practice, and it can be very effective. But it's just like anything else. If you don't put intent in it and you don't believe in it, it probably
Yeah.
won't work for you. Um, so that's what Reiki is. I really got into that initially because I've been healing my hands and other parts of my body through meditation and Tai Chi healing. A little bit of Western and Eastern
Yeah.
medicine. So
Not a bad
the
combination.
yeah, I do. I'll do the anti-inflammatories and all that stuff, but and then also eating healthy is really important if you have issues. So if you get the right food in you, that'll help your body heal. But then I got into part of the nerve damage and issues I had was I started having issues with my hands, and I carpal tunnel in both hands. They did all the tests and they found that out, and they were like, "You're gonna have to have surgeries and all this stuff." In fact, recording my first single, "Lost Girl," which is one of my more popular songs.
I have to.
That song took over 4.5 months to record
Um,
because my hands were so bad I couldn't even play my
mhm.
guitar.
Yeah.
So that's where I got into Tai Chi and ice therapy, cold therapy, and I was able to stave off having to have any surgeries on my hands.
Uh,
Um, and so yeah, that is turn kind of got me into like a more spiritual approach to healing and stuff like that. And so yeah, I want to teach Tai Chi someday, get certified in doing that.
yes.
I'm interested in doing yoga teacher training because I've been doing yoga for over 15 years, I think now. And that's really changed my life when I had back issues. So yeah, I'm really into health, fitness, spirituality, meditation, those kind of things. So that's
And
kind of
coffee helps.
what's that?
And coffee helps.
And coffee. Yeah. So that's kind of where I see myself. It's like going to be music primarily, and then like, healing modalities and teaching and stuff like that, and coffee.
Well, our music is also healing.
It
There's
is.
scientific evidence that it stimulates the brain, and especially in seniors, there's a lot of information out there on studies that they've done about how it rejuvenates certain parts of your brain. So
Mm-hmm.
you're on the right track, I think. We have a few more comments here. We had if you can see this, it says, I meant what drives your music aspirations now, is what he meant when he asked that question.
Oh, okay.
And then Steve Lynch, the guitarist for Autograph, had surgeries on both hands, and thankfully he was still able to play. Keep kicking ass, brother. You'll be you'll be you'll be fine. I don't know who said that.
Right.
Oh yeah, Steve Lynch. Do you know him?
Sounds familiar.
Okay.
I might
Well,
know him through a mutual friend.
okay. So those are the comments that we have here. Somebody gave a little heart and says, I'm here. Can
Oh,
you tell us who you are here so we can greet you?
who's
All
that?
right. So the last thing we were talking about was when you were 21, uh, and is that when you got the guitar, when around that age?
Yeah.
Okay. What happened after that? Where did you go from there?
I started just learning, really. I didn't really know anything. My friend had taught me like a power chord and like G, D, and C. Like he showed me how to play
Yeah.
like Knocking on Heaven's Door,
Yeah.
So I bought a beginner's book and I just started teaching myself, like through the book. And then I started learning songs, like I wanted to learn, like I loved Creedence and I loved the Beatles. And so I started going, okay, well, here looks like an easy song. There's only like 4 chords in this one. So I learned like Hard Day's Night, and like Who'll Stop the Rain and just really simple songs like that. But I've always been a singer. So that was really fun for me because I was able to like start learning the skill of playing the rhythm, changing chords on time, and singing the song while I'm doing that. Because I could already sing all the songs, I just couldn't play. So that kind of is where that started. And then that in turn started me writing my own music because, I would just learn like a chord or two and then go, oh, these sound cool together. And like, I think I was like, the first couple chords I learned was like A minor and E minor. And they're a really easy shape. They're like 3 fingers. You can just go like
guitarist.
move those 2, and drop that one. Yeah. Very simple. And I wrote a song with those 2 chords.
So we have a couple more comments, and the people that didn't we'll go back to this. Josh, I'm not going to leave you hang.
Yeah, no problem.
Rachel and Rose are 2 of the people that made comments and said hi. So hi back to you.
Hi.
And they're kind of regulars. They're people who like to listen to these. And then this one is Jim Marcotte here. Keep up the hard work. Congrats on all the gigs. So
thank you, Jimmy.
I
him? Do know Jim. Jim's a great dude. We were able to play a show together, which was really fun. He actually helped fill in on the bill because somebody had canceled. I actually just met Jim through the community on Facebook, through all the different musicians I've been making friends with. Yeah. And then he was playing a show right near my apartment almost 2 years ago. That's how fast the time is going by. So I was able to see him play that. If you haven't seen Jim play, you guys, you got to go listen to him. He's phenomenal. He does a version he wrote himself, a composition of Eleanor Rigby that's phenomenal. Like I even asked him, I was like, did you write that? And he was like, I did. And I was like, holy crap, man.
Wow. So with your songwriting, and since you are a independent singer-songwriter, I assume that you're not associated with the label as of yet.
I do have a small label, but it's just a distribution deal.
Oh, okay.
And it expires, I believe, this fall.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you're writing your songs, you were started putting you're a lot further ahead than I was. It took me years to get to that point from just learning a few chords and singing.
Yeah.
But as you progressed, your songwriting must have progressed right along with you. Is that correct? So you were doing covers, and then at some point you decided to write. So how did you go about that? What was your inspiration? What kind of music are you writing? Can you put it in a genre?
Yeah, I mean, I usually tell people it's like acoustic rock, folk, and blues. That's kind of a wheelhouse I write and play in. I mean, I like other genres, but I don't, and I like playing other genres, but I don't, when I write, it doesn't really come out. So it's hard. I don't usually start with an intention to write a song. It just kind of comes out. Whether sometimes it could just be lyrics. Like I'm just writing out feelings. Mm-hmm. I'm not even necessarily always trying to rhyme them. I'm just trying to get something out, like I'm going through a breakup or actually a lot of my songs are about breakups. But then it could be, I could just be playing something and go, this is good. And then I just start singing something and then I write it down. Or it'll be like, I have a song called Pain Measurement that I was just jamming one night and I just wrote a riff and I was like, ooh, this is good. And then I came up with like a kind of a chorus part for it using the same chords, but just different rhythms. And I was like, ooh, this is good. I need lyrics. So I go into my little pile of like unused lyrics. So they didn't have a song with them. They just had lyrics. There's just, no music. And I think I just grabbed like the first one I saw, and it just fit like perfectly. You know, I don't know how it works that way. It just happens. So I'm not a very intentional writer. I'm not like, there's all these songwriters out there, like say in Nashville or whatever, and they're like, that's what they do. They go and they sit and they write songs. And then they go to lunch and they come back and they write songs. I don't like forcing songs out. The songs just come out of me when they come out. Like I actually haven't written anything new in well over a year.
Oh, time to, that's
I don't know. Like
right?
it's just, I've got a couple in the works, but they need work, and sometimes it's just hard at the moment finding the time, because I've been so busy at the full-time job. And I'm
playing music,
gigging like 3 days a week, and I got a couple cats, and I'm still trying to find a date. And
yeah, because so we have a few more comments. Boy, this is busy. People are really responding to you. Somebody said they'd like to hear that Eleanor Rigby, was it, song?
Yeah.
Is that on Facebook? How could they find
it? I don't know if Jim has a version of that out anywhere. Your best bet would just be look up Jim Marcotte
on Facebook.
On him, find him on Facebook, Instagram, go on his website. I think it's jimmarcottemusic.com, I think.
Yeah, and Marcotte, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know if he has a version of that out. If nothing else, he's down south now, close to Vancouver, Washington now. But yeah, go catch a live show and request it. Yeah, because he's amazing.
We also have Casey Freedom watching you.
Hey, what's up, Casey?
So I understand this about songwriting because right now I'm struggling. I kind of reached a point where all these songs are there, but they're not coming out the way I want them to because the music is escaping me. And I'm struggling. But I have had moments when that song can be written in 15 minutes and turns out to be so on. Yeah. But I don't have the ability to write all the music parts and like some writers do. I just put the basic words down and depend upon my producer to come up with something with me. Well, I tell him what I want it to sound like, whatever. So that's an interesting process you have there. I've never tried anything like that. But as you put those out there and you put all those words together, that sounds like a good way to approach it.
I mean, it's been working for me. I got like the newest one I wrote. I was just like, I don't know if I was rehearsing. I don't even sometimes I have to like schedule time now to rehearse because my schedule becomes so busy.
Oh yeah.
I'm right on the edge, man. Like I've got to get a manager or this is not going to grow, from where it is right now. Right. I'm like barely hanging on, getting the rest I need and doing all the gigs. And I'm like just putting together my calendar right now for summer. And there's well over like 30 gigs from now until the end into September. So it's just busy. But
speaking of your gigs, do you do originals or do you do originals and covers or?
I do. It depends on the venue. So like speaking of Casey, me and Casey and a couple other really good local artists, we have a show in September. And that's going to be at the old Bad Jimmy's Brewing in Ballard on September 30th. Okay. It's going to be a great show. And that's going to be all mostly original artists. So I'll probably do a couple covers in that show, and then the rest I'll do all originals. Okay. So it'll just depend on the venue. Like sometimes I played this place in Snohomish. It was really cool. It's the Spada Farmhouse Brewery. It's right in downtown Snohomish. And really cool place. But it's kind of more like a restaurant.
There yet.
Yeah, more like a restaurant setting. So I would be like almost 50-50, half covers, half originals. Yeah. I try to take requests depending on the venue as well. Like I try to take requests, but I might not know the song or I might not know it well enough to do it well. But that can actually work out as like a comedy routine, not planned. But I'm just like, I might know it, I might not. It might go well, it might be a train wreck. And
you really want to hear it go out in your car and turn it on in the radio.
Okay, so I did. Somebody requested "Because the Night" by Natalie Merchant, And I know the song. I'm familiar with like the chorus.
Right.
But I tried to play it and it was just, oh God, it was so bad.
Oh yeah.
And I apologize. Like, I'm sorry, that was terrible. And yeah, moving on. And then you'll get a great one like that same night, somebody requested Black Magic Woman by Santana. Yeah. Well, I know that song, but I've never played it. And so I just looked up the chords and then I just figured out my own little rhythm to play it. And I've looped it. And then I did solos over in between the verses and it actually turned out good. Now I play that song in my set list because it's,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you have a looper. I
do.
I've been toying with that, but I just, I don't know. It kind of escapes me. Maybe one of these days I'll be brave enough. But anyway,
yeah.
Those are really, I think there's a couple of people that I know that are musicians that play with loopers, and they're really cool. Do you know Chris Egger at all?
I was going to say, so I know of Chris through some friends who are friends and fans of mine I met over the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. They go watch him a lot, and they're always talking about him. I finally got to see him briefly a couple of weeks ago when I was playing the Snohomish Farmers Market. He was playing down the street at the Oxford.
Yeah.
And so I popped in to say hi to my friends and see him for a minute. And yeah, he's super talented, really good at what he does.
Yeah.
So I hope I get to go see a full show of his someday because I only got to see a few songs.
Yeah, absolutely. He's incredible. But anyway, now I saw him in a little winery in La Conner. And one of the very first times that I actually saw him perform a show and not a jam. And he used a looper, but he was just so entertaining. I mean, he just has too much talent.
He's got a lot going, right? He's not only good at the looping, the beats, the guitar, but he layers it really well.
And plays
and then he's got a really great voice.
Yes.
And he's not a bad looking dude either. That doesn't hurt him all.
No.
And the other thing that I thought was really cool was that he did primarily country when I saw him, but he was able to sing the songs. Like he almost had like a voice so clear, like Keith Urban, like that really clear, crisp. I was like, I told my friends, I said, I can see why you like this guy. Like he's good. Exactly. He's good.
So we have another comment here that I want to draw attention to because it's back on that Rigby thing. There is, I think Jim did post it on this. If you look at your comments, if you could find them, he does post where you can find that song, and it's on YouTube, and he does have it here. So if you want to click that link, or if you can't click the link, copy and paste and put it in, you'll find it. Oops, I lost him. He should be back shortly. And so there we go. Okay, John. Welcome back. Just popping in to see us.
I pushed the back button like one too many. Sorry.
There's a learning curve there. Huh? No problem. So anyway, we've got the link on there posted. So
that's awesome. You'll enjoy that because I was like captivated when I saw him play that.
Yeah. Yeah.
In fact, it was a question I asked him. I said, did you play classical guitar or something? He was like, no. And I was like, well, that was very much like a classical piece, like a classical rock piece.
Yeah, he's been in Nashville, and something happened. He's his father's a bass player, and he's been around a lot of stars out in Winthrop, and I think some of that's rubbed off because he's quite the showman. So when you are doing your gigs as a one-man show, right? You do your solo act. What kind of sound system do you use, and what is your response in the places that you play? I don't think you just play wineries, but you play wherever you have a gig that they want you for, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I'm pretty much taking anything I can get, just because I'm just trying to do the dream. And some really successful people that I look up to, whether they're actors or musicians, you listen to them. And then whenever they ask them in the interviews, oh, what kind of advice would you give them? Usually they say, keep going, don't give up, believe in yourself, and keep performing. So I just like perform. So yeah, I'm playing it pretty much anywhere. If I can play on the big stages, I will. I got luck. It was amazing. I got to play on the Solstice Fremont Solstice Parade,
Yeah.
um, the beer garden stage. I was selected out of, I don't know how many people applied, but they selected 15 out of all that applied, and then they did a voting thing, and I got second out of 5 that they chose.
Oh.
So I got to and then got to raise a bunch of money for the fair, the Fremont Fair and Parade, and also donate some money to children's charity, and it's really cool. So yeah, that was a big stage, and then I'm playing the Edmonds Oktoberfest. It's a pretty big stage this coming summer fall. But I'll do everything to like little coffee houses, to bars, to farmers markets. I'm actually playing one at a cannabis city in Seattle later this year. That should be interesting. I did one at an art gallery in Kirkland. Did one at there's a Sip and Fuse Molten Works glass studio that actually Jim played there, and that's how I found
Where's that. Where's
it's out in Woodinville.
Okay,
it's really fun.
I used to go to car shows and play with my band in the car shows in Bothell, and they had one of those right next door. So we were up on the stage, but they were behind us, so we kind of see in there.
Yeah,
it was quite the process. I enjoyed that.
It's super fun. I think it depends on the venue as well, like the response, as far as people. I usually get good responses. Kind of depends. Like if I'm playing my original stuff, I'll notice, which that's interesting too, because like one crowd will like this song more than this song, or sometimes you end up at places too where like you're almost just kind of background noise, and they don't even clap when you finish the song, and you just got to let that go and just play the next song. Other times you're playing in a room where everyone's just paying attention to you, staring at you, and you can hear a pin drop in between songs. Those can be really fun as well, because then you can like do little storytelling stuff, like, hey, this song is about this or that. Exactly. But yeah, so far I feel like I'm getting received pretty well, and I think doing the requests really helps as well, get people engaged.
So what kind of guitar do you use?
I play a Martin.
It's a Martin string or 6?
6-string Martin Dreadnought. And it's what they called like one of the economy models, but it's a solid top spruce, but the back and sides are a high pressure laminate. They sound pretty good right off the floor, but it's really starting to sound good now that it's over 10 years old now, so it's starting to really sound good. So yeah, I'm a Martin guy. I love Martin acoustics. I think Taylors are great too, and I've played some nice Breedloves and Seagulls, and I've played on all the nice brands. But I'm a Martin guy through and through. And then as far you asked about what kind of equipment I use. Right now I'm just using a little Fender acoustic amp. I think it's like the Fender Acoustic 300 or something like that. It was like it's about a $400 amp. It's really nice sound. It's great for even decent sized rooms. It carries really well, but the only problem with it is when you get it outside, it doesn't tend to have enough to really get out into the air. So you have to have a second amp, but it does have a little port, so you can just plug in and port that to another amp, and then that gives you the extra sound. Okay. So yeah, it's a pretty good setup. I'm all mobile at the moment. I don't drive at the moment. I don't have a car, so I get there every gig using the bus or Ubers, and then I'm on foot, and so I've got a backpack
carrying all this equipment.
Yeah, big heavy backpack full of all my pedal and all my cords and CDs and stuff like that, business cards and all that little stuff, and then I've got the guitar on a shoulder, and then I got a nice bag that has my vinyl records in it, and I carry that, and then I got a little dolly with the amp on it and a mic stand.
Oh wow!
It's quite I've got it worked up though, So what I said, Arthur Ashe was one of the famous guys. He said something about you use what you got. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I got right now, so that's what I'm using.
So during the COVID, I don't know your background, so I don't know if you are a native to Washington or if you came here from somewhere else, or.
I'm from Bellevue. I grew up in Bellevue.
Okay. So you're here. All right. You're kind of I live in Redmond, so you're you're almost a neighbor.
Where do you grow up at?
Oh no, I live in Redmond.
Oh, okay.
I grew up in Minnesota, the land of
Oh,
mosquitoes.
hey, yeah, Midwest. My parents are from the Midwest,
Ah,
Wisconsin.
where? Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
I lived in Wisconsin too. I went to school,
Did you? Nice.
University of Wisconsin. So when COVID hit, you were here, and were you at that time gigging, or
I
what
was
was
just
the?
starting to pick up.
Uh,
Actually, I recorded my first single in 2019, and then a second one that summer, and then two more, and we were getting ready to release on March 20th, 2020. And I think it was like 3 days, 4 days before they locked everything
yeah,
down.
yeah, they
And
did.
I had just started to get like some gigs booked, not a lot, but a few. And then I just started working with a gal who actually just moved out of town, but she was doing a lot of booking for musicians.
Yeah.
And so she was booking me all these shows. It was great. I was excited. I was going, ooh, I got this. My first EP is going to come out. I'm going to play all these shows. And then, nope.
Dang, it was over.
So that started the live streams. And that actually is what prompted me to buy my first amp. Like
Ah,
before I was planning on buying one. Because I played my first live stream that weekend which was supposed to be a show live, right? Instead, it
right.
wasn't. Instead, it was from my bedroom, and I had no amplification, just my guitar, and I no reverb on your vocal, nothing, and
Yeah,
it just felt so like
did.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Even though people received it well and it was fine. I mean, everybody was at home anyway, but
Yeah.
yeah. So then I started doing live streams, and I had an amp, and so then I had some
Yeah.
good sound, and then so I did about a live stream almost every week. And I was fortunate enough that the job I worked for kept us on full-time pay, but we only had to come to work like 1 or 2 days a week
Oh, wow.
for the
Yeah.
whole year, which was
Oh,
very nice. Got very lucky with that. And so most of the time I did all the live streams, and any money that I made or got donated, we donated it to charity, whether it was the local food bank, or my favorite charity is No Kid Hungry.
yeah.
And they feed all these kids around the country that don't get like school lunches and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was most of COVID, was just live streaming, posting stuff, trying to stay as relevant as I could, during the time. And I was able to get a few live streaming gigs at some of the bars that were live streaming music, live musicians.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I was able to get a few of those. A couple of those at like Ingles Pub in Edmonds. I did one at Bothell at oh God, I can't remember the name of the place. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, great. That you kept yourself busy. How was the songwriting during that period of time? How was your emotional state? Because you were just starting, you were just getting out there, you were all excited, and then boom, it all locks down. And so you had to find other means to get out there. So how do you think how did you cope with all that?
I think I did pretty well with it. Actually, what was funny is a couple of years before COVID, I was going through a lot of stuff. It started in like 2016 and just kind of kept carrying a couple of years, where I went through a divorce and then a very toxic relationship. And then I just didn't have the tools to dealing with like trauma and pain, at least to deal it with it healthy ways. And so I started drinking even more. Anyways, I got a DUI.
Uh-oh.
A really bad one. Like, I crashed the car on the freeway. I hit somebody. Like, luckily they weren't hurt.
Yeah.
I got very lucky that I wasn't hurt. They weren't hurt. It was all best case scenario stuff. And I got a real wake up call. I got lucky. I got like a second chance, and so I went through all the process, go to like, treatment, counseling, all that stuff you have to do in Washington State. And so I just got sober for a couple years. And it all started like beginning of 2020 when I had to start the classes. And so I was just like sober that whole time. It was funny because so many people were posting about like, oh, I'm day drinking, or, because there's nothing else to do. And I couldn't do any of that, or I would have gotten in trouble with the state. So I had to just stay cool. So I would exercise a lot. I cleaned my house really well, took care of my cats. I would take long walks. It was gorgeous that year. Like, that whole spring and summer was beautiful. So I would take long walks out to the ocean. I live in Everett, and so I went far from the ocean out there, and I would take long walks. I would rehearse a lot. As far as writing songs, I don't know if I wrote a lot in 2020 until the end of 2020. the end of 2020, I met a girl and fell in love with her. And then I wrote this whole album I'm working on right now is actually about that whole relationship.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
So in
awesome.
the span of from the time I met her to the time we broke up, I wrote like 17 songs or something.
Oh, and then you broke up.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Yeah. We actually reconnected recently, and I guess we're just friends now, but better
that's
than
the way
nothing, I
to do it.
suppose, you know?
It's the way to do it. So, in your music journey, um, you kind of left me at 21, so I'm not sure what you did between 21 and today. Were you in other bands, or were you
Yeah.
always more of a solo act? Or
Actually, I was mostly in bands. I always wanted to do the solo thing. I don't know why. It just kind of always appealed to me. Maybe it's
Mhm.
a Simon and Garfunkel kind of thing, that solo musician up there with the guitar.
Yeah.
Just doing something that's really simple and stripped down and beautiful, vulnerable. Um, but I was in bands. Yeah, I was in rock bands, electric guitar, playing bars, playing a lot of covers. And then we slowly as I started showing my original songs to the band, they, "Ooh, that one's good. We should play that live." And
Yeah.
so I did that for some years, met some great friends. That band kind of would lose a member and then gain a member and then lose another member. And for a while, it was just me and the drummer were the only two original guys. And then after a few years of that, this was in my mid 20s, pushing into like my early 30s. And I was at one point, I just said, I think I want to start focusing on my music. And then I ended up forming a band with a buddy and then another guitarist friend. And we were just two acoustic guitars and a drummer who used an acoustic drum set. And we were together for, I think, about 5 years. And
Mm.
we recorded a small, like, live stripped album, not very well produced, but it was just live. And that was fun. And then that kind of started coming apart in the end of 2018, right about the time I got my DUI.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
and this all kind of, I guess, this all works out the way it's supposed to. It's
Yeah,
weird
I
ways.
think it does. Got to take a few knocks every now and
It
then.
does. Because now that drummer, he's in a new band, and I hope I get to go see him soon. And then the guitarist, like, he met a girl and fell in love, got married. Now he's got 2 kids, and
So much
so
for the music.
life just keeps going.
In your experience, what was the best moment that your aha moment or moments when you said, wow, I think I'm headed in the right direction. I'm not going to get rich, but I want to do this. Well, maybe
Um,
you will get rich, but at this point to get there is a journey.
um, I think it's got to be within the last few years. It could have been like maybe last year, the year before, when I was going through the breakup in 2021 with the girl I fell in love with. Um, it was rough. It was hard. What was really hard about it too was it was still lockdown. I didn't go back to work full time until like May of that year, or the late March. So we broke up in like February. So that went like a couple months of just being at home all the time and nothing to do but like keep thinking about it. So I went to like a yoga class every day. I did whatever I could. Eventually I just threw I ended up getting dating apps, and then I was like, I'm not even really ready to date anybody. Why am I wasting my time on this? I'm not even interested in this person that wants to talk to me. And so that was when I just threw myself into my music. I said, I just gonna keep emailing places, finding places that do music. Even if I don't know to do music, just send them an email and start booking shows. And I ended up booking. And I think it was about a year later in 2022 when I was continuous like manifesting what I want to be doing, which is I kept saying, I have so many gigs, I'm turning them down. I have so many gigs, I'm turning them down. And fast forward a couple of years, and I was turning down gigs last year. I was like, I'm sorry, I'm booked. I'm sorry, I'm booked. And I was like, holy crap, it's happening. So there is something to be said for this law of attraction stuff. Really, if you could put the intent out there, you work hard and believe in yourself, and it's possible. It's possible.
Well, I don't know. I'm still working on the possible.
It really is. You got to believe it.
Can't believe it.
Yeah.
I've been through ups and downs and rounds, and I think Oh my God. But I guess it's just part of the whole situation. So,
It's
what was
life.
the worst experience you've ever had in the last, let's say, 5 years?
Worst?
Yeah.
The worst experience?
Yeah. You might not have had any, but
With music or
Um, yeah, I related to music.
related to music? Okay. Well, it's not like the worst thing ever, but this was bad. And any other musician who's had this happen knows. I had an amp just crap out on me. First song
Oh
of the
no.
night. Yeah. What's funny is it was that amp. I had already replaced that amp. So I don't even want to say, I'm going to say the name. It was a Fishman Loudbox Mini. They're actually a really nice amp, but I wouldn't recommend using them as like a full-time gigging amp because I went through 2 of them in less than 3 years.
Gosh.
Yeah, and they replaced the first one I bought wasn't under warranty because I bought it off a guy. Second one was, and they repaired it, and it works fine now. But what happened was I'd already replaced the first one and got that second one. I went to the gig, got to the gig. It was the weekend of Halloween, so I planned all these songs. Like I'm gonna play like Spooky by whoever that band is. You know what I'm talking about? Spooky. Yeah. And first song, I'm trying to play that Black Magic Woman, and the amp is crackling, popping, and I had to just stop, go tell the bartender, like, I'm sorry, I don't think there's gonna be music tonight. I'd have to go all the way back to Everett to get another amp. And anyways, what's funny though that saved that night was this guy randomly at the bar. I was like, did I overhear that your amp's not working? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, I just live down the street. I can bring one. And I was
my
like,
gosh.
sure. And it worked out, but he brought this like little old PV, like janky little like 10-inch like it was not a good amp. Like I had to fine tune the sound like a lot just to get it sound decent. But I wasn't able to sing because I didn't have a microphone port,
Oh, no.
So I just played instrumental all night, but it still worked out. But that was uncomfortable.
Did they ever have you back?
Yeah.
Hey.
I've been playing there over a year now. That's a Rouge Cocktail Lounge in Bellevue. It's kind of a nice, swanky place if you want to go somewhere nice for a fancy cocktail downtown Bellevue.
Okay. I don't really go into downtown Bellevue very much. I'm more of a country girl. I like to stay in
it's definitely
places.
become. I grew up in Bellevue, so to see downtown now is just like it's weird.
I know.
It's so shiny and rich.
Yeah, I worked down there in one of the towers for a lawyer for a while, and it was quite the gig. But I like the town. I like it better than
beautiful.
Seattle. Seattle scares me, but Bellevue hasn't reached
that
point yet.
Yeah, I think Bellevue's they got better policy of how they're handling. I don't know, just life of a city, I guess.
So coming up, what do we got going as far as what songs are coming out? And you're talking about an album that's that you were working on.
Yeah.
With this girl, about this girl and your relationships, and you're a healer, and it comes out in your music, I'm sure. So where are we at today, and what are you going to be doing in the first
I'm going to have 2 singles coming out this summer. One's called New Love, that's about hope and rekindling, like starting over with somebody.
Yes.
I'm hopefully get the finishing touches on that in the next couple weeks, and then get a release date for it. So that'll probably come out sometime late July or early August. And then the next one's going to come like right after that. And that's actually my first cover song that I'm releasing. That is a cover of Chris Stapleton. Chris Stapleton's Starting Over by Chris Stapleton.
Yeah.
But it's my version, so it's like a little more slowed down, a little more of a love songy than his is great too, but it's a little fast,
Yeah.
And so I slowed it down a little bit. And I've gotten really good responses when I play that live. People tend to like that, my version of it. So I'm excited to see how that's received. I'm working on that album. I don't think I'll be done with it till probably next summer, realistically, if I keep gigging as much as I am.
Yeah.
And I'm gigging a lot. You guys can find me on Facebook or Instagram, and I also have a website, utechmusic.com. You can find a calendar on there where you're going to see where I'm going to be at. And I'm no shortage of gigs coming up. I'm looking at my calendar now and it's pretty full. It's a good problem. It's a good problem to have. Now I'm just in my brain going, where am I going to find the time to rest so I don't burn out like last year?
Yeah.
Because last summer I kind of burned out a little bit and I had to cancel a few gigs.
You know, I've seen some musicians that I jam with. I'm trying to build a repertoire of music to get a gig, but so that's a process in and of itself. But at any rate, I'm not a solo artist. I don't like the thought. And burnout is. I don't see how these guys do it. I mean, they sometimes have 3 gigs in one day. I'm like, oh, and the devil and they're not, sometimes they have to ride ferries just to get to them. It's like, how do they do that? I could not do that. Not even when I was younger. I don't know.
That's what I'm doing now. Actually, I don't have any 3 gig in a days, but I've got some doubles.
Yeah.
Those just, I mean, as far as like, actually, I don't know. It all depends on how you're taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
But they are long days.
Yeah.
Especially if like I have a day job still. So I'll work like a full day here, bring my gear with me and go straight from here in Seattle to like Issaquah and play a show and then get done with that show and get back to Everett and go to sleep by like 10 or 11 and then get up at 5 a.m. to go to work the next day. But I've got a few coming up, like where I'm doing one down at like SeaTac Airport. I work for this company, Gigs for You.
Is that Toby?
Toby Brady. He's he was one of my gig managers. Now he's actually one of the head gig manager coordinators.
I just interviewed him. He's quite the guy.
He's a great dude and very talented man, by the way. Playing drums and guitar at the same time. That's not easy to do. So that company books us shows all over, but right now a lot of them at the SeaTac Airport. So I'm doing like one at SeaTac Airport from 12:30 to 2:30, and then I got to pack up, get on a train back to Everett, and then I got to get out to Sultan that night to play at Bubba's Roadhouse.
Oh my gosh, I know Bubba's. I've been there.
I love Bubba's.
Yeah, they're good people. Their food was at what time that I went there. They had really good food.
Mm-hmm.
In the short run, looks like you're going to be very busy with all of these projects and this too.
Yeah.
So what do you do? What do you do to? I mean, I know that you have some techniques for healing and so forth. But if you're going to get away, where would you? How do you do that? Excuse me.
I love going to the woods, hiking, trails, even something that's close by because there's so many. If you don't know, you can there's an app called All Trails. And now on that app, you can just look up in your neighborhood and they'll be like, oh, there's a trail like 2 miles from you. And it's like a 3 mile, whatever. But that's a great way to just find something. But I love going out to the ocean in Everett. The apartments I live at are really nice and peaceful. So sometimes just strolling around there, just going outside and sitting in the grass under all the trees. We also have a pool, which is nice. So I can go to the pool and lay in the sun. I love video games and movies. So I'm an old gamer from back in like the Atari and an original Nintendo all the way up to what you got now. And so when I have time, I love to just turn off the world and go into a game where, you're fighting dragons or whatever. I love hanging out just in my house in my own little area, my space. It's like my shrine. And I got a couple cats and they're really calming and chill. And
yeah. Guys don't usually have cats. That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, me and my ex-wife had cats together, and then when we split, I got the cats.
You got the cats.
Yeah.
Yeah, cats don't like me. I stayed with Wendy who had cats, and they come into my bed, and we had these heaters on the wall. They got the roof, and this cat would love to, on that heater.
Oh boy!
And I guess
that's no fun.
I don't know if he was jealous or what his problem was, but marking his territory, I don't know.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I had a cat. He's passed away now, but he was mad at me for something, and he pooped on me in the middle of the night.
Oh my
I
gosh.
woke up and there was poop all over the bed sheet. It was like, what? And it was so long ago, I actually do not remember what he was mad about. But yeah,
Oh no.
yeah, that was not fun to wake up
Did
to.
he survive?
Yeah, yeah, he's, I don't know, cats are crazy.
What was his name? I didn't have
His name was Samwise.
Sam Morris.
Samwise
Oh,
from
Samwise.
Lord of the Rings.
Oh, okay. Maybe didn't like the
All my
name.
cats are named after Lord of the Rings characters.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
In looking back and everything we said today, what advice would you give people who are just starting out or have been off for a while and are coming back to the music scene, crazy as it is? What advice would you give to these people now that you have the chance to have your say?
It's really flattering. Well, the first is just believe in yourself. You know, you got to believe in yourself, at least enough to like start the journey, right?
All right.
And you got to want it. And it needs to be more than just money, right? It needs to be something that like, yeah, I'm good at this. I'm deserve to be paid for this, but I would do this even if I didn't get paid. That kind of thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The other is just be persistent. Like also to find your niche. Like what is your thing? Are you a blues guy? Are you a, you know, I mean, I'm trying to continue developing my skills as a guitarist and I'm learning piano. And so I'm trying to get better at like scales and solos and just being a better musician at my instrument. But because I'm already feel like I'm a very good vocalist, but I still want to get better as vocalist. So I've taken a couple vocal lessons. So find out what you're good at, what's your thing, and just go 100% at that. Go at it, go at it, go at it. It's okay to branch out and try other things, but don't get sidetracked. In fact, you listen to a lot of successful people, they'll tell you to like, don't try to be too diverse. You know, you want to focus here. Like it'd be like me putting too much focus into being a coffee person or this, and rather than, and the music is only part-time instead of just being music, and these are the secondary things. But yeah, work hard, believe in yourself. Like if you want to do gigs like I do, just hustle it up, man, and build a little email that looks kind of professional. Get yourself a website. It's easy to build. Get yourself some music recorded so you have something, a product, you know, so people can hear what you sound like. Get some decent videos of you performing. Practice. Go out to open mics, see how you're received. Try out those songs in front of people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but have fun. I tell myself that before every gig, so just go have fun. Just go have fun. This is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
You're supposed to give your gift back to the world. And that's what I believe we're supposed to do, and figure out what it is here on earth. What is our gift? How do I give it back to the world? Because it's not to get here and to get a bunch of money and stuff. That's not why we're here, just so you know.
Right.
There's
So
other,
do you
there's
have
other
a
reasons.
5-year plan about where you want to be in 5 years? I mean, like, you know,
I
between
mean,
now
yeah,
and some
it's
future point.
loose. Yeah, I do. It's a loose plan because plans shift and change as life
Yes.
shifts and changes.
Right.
My parents are still here, so I was planning on moving abroad and living in Europe and doing that for a long time. But my mom's gonna be 82 this year. My dad just turned 75, so I'm probably gonna stay local while I still got them around. And so right now I'm saving. I'm probably about a year away from getting a truck. And then I'm going to get myself an RV, like a nice size RV that I can live in. And that'll help save on rent.
Yes.
But that'll also make me mobile so I can travel and play music all over the country. And I work for a company that's got jobs all over the place, so I can find part-time work if I need it. And I'll be able to take my 2 cats and me on the road, and eventually buy some property. And I used to be in construction, so I know how to build, so I could build myself a house and live in my RV while I'm doing that.
Yes.
That's the base plan now.
May change.
You know, we'll see how it shifts and changes.
When you look at what you're doing now, how does your training and this side thing that you're doing with healing, how does that play into this? I mean, there's music, playing it, enjoying it, believing in yourself, but there's another side to music, and that's a healing part of it.
Yeah.
How do you see that working into your musical career going forward? I know we talked a little about this earlier, but
Hmm.
incorporating it with the music and
Yeah. Well, so I have a couple. I have a psychic, and
ah,
she's she's spooky.
ah,
She's scary good. But she said one of my things is to heal people with my energy. And
yeah,
so I think part of it is just playing the music. It's putting that part of yourself out there that's vulnerable. Like, hey, I wrote this song about my heartbreak, and then somebody else relates to it, and that's a form of healing there too, and the energy you put out. But I also read up a lot about sound vibrations and healings and stuff like that. And so I don't play in 440 hertz. I play in 432 hertz, which is supposed to be more natural vibration for the human body and the ear. Um, so that's a version of helping with the energy healing is using a different vibration when you're playing your music.
I don't mean to interrupt you here, but hold on
Yeah.
to that thought. I know somebody that's always talking about this,
Yeah.
and it's Billy Shue. I don't know if you know Billy or not, but he just gigs all over and has jams everywhere, and you can find him at Dawson's every Sunday night. And he talks about that. He and I'm like, what's he talking about? I have no clue.
Yeah,
Just no
it's
clue here.
really interesting stuff. And I think
But
the first time I tuned my guitar to 432 is my old guitarist told me about it and showed me some articles. When I tuned it and I heard that first note, I swear I could feel my ear, like it was almost felt like it was opening up in this weird way. I don't know how else to explain it. I know I've run into some musicians who think this stuff is all kooky, and that's
yeah,
fine. That's your truth. That doesn't have to be my truth.
yeah,
The other thing too is I started doing now is with the energy is like when I'm performing, it's more like, can I be in this place of peace and sending out these vibrations of like happiness, love, like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Because we are all energy. It's been
Yes,
proven.
yes,
And so
yes.
the more, that's why you feel something when you feel the music. So if you can give something positive through that to people, I think that's a great thing.
Yes, I agree.
I think it's really going to start where your energy starts. So if you're having a bad night and you're not feeling good, maybe it's not going to be a great energy night for you putting it off there. But also you can channel that into your music,
Absolutely. Oh, this is interesting. I don't really know much about that, but it's a kind of a coming thing. I just
Mm-hmm.
interviewed a young lady who is into that, and in a different way, but it was still similar. And then Billy Shue talking to me about these natural occurs by naturally by nature, like in the environment that you're living in, certain
Mm-hmm.
tones.
Yeah.
And I really don't. Is it called something? I mean, is there something that you looked up on the internet to track that down?
There's a really good article my friend sent me about it that I will, if I remember, I'll try to remember to send it to you
All right, thank you.
and share it again on Facebook. I shared it once. But there's a lot of stuff about sound healing. If you just look up sound healing,
Okay.
because there's so many different frequencies. Like there's a really interesting one that there's like the number 7 is like this like universal like God number. So there's like seven notes in the scale. The 8th note is the
Yeah.
original note of the
Yeah.
scale, right? There's 7 main chakras in the human body. There's
Oh,
like 7 different vibrations that the earth like vibrates.
I
There's
heard it.
777. It's all over the place. So there's all these connections between. That's like you ever think about like the ancient humans. How did they know to make music? How did they know how to make music? How did they know to wind this string up at this certain tension that makes this note? And then let's put 5 other ones and let's carve hole in this wood. Like
Yeah.
we don't really know, but it's all there,
Right. I
So
was I was listening to flute playing and some shaking and drumming, but very little. Uh, some of the more renowned flute players, American Indian flute players. I was listening to that music, and I thought, wow, this is they talk about it being healing and
yeah.
whatever, and it really is unusual
Mm-hmm.
music.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to it 5 o'clock in the morning this morning. I couldn't sleep, so I was listening to that stuff, and Yeah, they think there's something to be said. Now, when you do this 432 tuning, you don't have to worry about anybody else because nobody else is playing with you, right?
No, but sometimes I have to change my tuning back. Like when I sing at church, or if I play along with the pianist at church, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So you sing at church too.
I don't mind changing back.
Well, all of this is very interesting, and I'm glad you brought it out, Josh. And we've hit our 1 hour mark.
Perfect.
So I do want to thank you for coming today. I've enjoyed the talk. I'll be sending you, thank you. I'll be sending a YouTube link with this interview on it, and they can find you by going to interview with Joshua Red Uttech. Uttech. Sorry.
Okay.
And for that, I guess that's the end of it. I hate to see you go. I hope to catch you down the road.
I would love that. That'd be great. Thanks, Joy.
Bye-bye. Well, that's it for our program today. I have Malcolm Monaghan. I can't pronounce his last name. I have to talk to him first to see how he pronounces it. But he'll be on Monday. Sorry, I believe it's July 1st, somewhere in that date. It's a Monday, the first Monday in July. And I think he has an interest story as well. So I hope you enjoyed today. You have a good rest of your week, and I'll see you again on Monday. Bye, everybody. Let's see. That's my challenge of getting out of here again. All right.